Hello, everyone. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to this webinar, which is hosted by Prakara Institute. I would like to thank Prakara for giving me this opportunity to go with the webinar on sociology and bring about the sociological perspectives for the nursing students. So I would like to uh, explain briefly about all the units and how you need to write your exam based on the exam point of view, how you can present your paper. So that will be helping you to score well and get a good score in your exams. So within no time, we'll be starting the webinar. I hope all the students will be beneficial with this webinar. So mostly this webinar will be helpful for the semester-wise students to go along with the syllabus-wise description of the answers and how you can present in your papers. So I'll be explaining you in unit-wise accordingly and weightage of the units, how we can concentrate more on particular questions and what are the frequent questions which will be coming from different units. So how we can be briefly explaining about each point, how we can present in the paper. This webinar will be useful for you. So shall we start with the units which are involved in this first semester in sociology goes with the list of units we'll see. So the first unit is all about the introduction of sociology. Then second unit is individual and society. Unit 3 is about culture. Unit 4 is social groups and process of social groups. Unit 5 is about the population. Unit 6 is family and marriage. Unit 7 is social stratification. Unit 8 is will study about the types of communities in India. So mostly we have three types of communities, that is rural community, urban and regional. The next unit is unit 9. It's about social change. The next is unit 10. It is social organization and social system. Then unit 11 is social control. The last unit 12 is about social problems. So these are the units which are given according to the syllabus. Now, the weightage units in the sense, the most concentrated units and the most frequently questions which are asked from the units are unit 2, that is individual and society, unit 3, culture, unit 4, social groups and processes, unit 6, family and marriage, unit 7, social stratification, unit 8, types of communities in India, unit 10, social organizations and social system, and unit 12, that is social problems. So these are the most weightage units in which you have to concentrate or put much effort on this units, because the questions you usually asked by the university will be from this particular units. So we'll start with unit 1, that is introduction to sociology. So first of all, I would like to tell you like how the sociology was termed and who has coined the term sociology. So a philosopher named Auguste Comte, he is the father of sociology. He has devoted his energies to bring about a science of society. So he has coined the term sociology, that is a Latin word which is derived from a Latin word societas, which means society, Greek word logos, which means study. So coming to the definition of sociology, if you see, sociology is defined as the scientific study of social relationships. So not only about social relationships, it is about complete social phenomena where where we can even study about the social actions and about the social behavior of a person individually. So it is defined as a science of society. Then coming to the nature and scope of sociology. So coming to the nature of sociology, so sociology is a science of society. So it is scientific in nature. The first thing what we can write in nature is it is scientific in nature. The next is it is value free. Value free in the sense is never sociology talks about judgment. It is value free. Then next, it has a systemic body of knowledge. Sociology has a systemic body of knowledge. Then next, if we talk about scope of sociology, the benefit or the advantage of sociology in the nursing field, how it will be benefited or how the students gets benefited by learning sociology. That is, actually the scope is divided into two schools, that is formalistic school and synthetic school. So here there are many sociologists, those who have an argument, a kind that the sociology should be limited and it should be wider. So first scope is formalistic school and the second one is synthetic school. So the formalistic school sociologists were arguing for sociology should be limited, means whatever the study which we are studying about the human beings or human relations, that should be limited only to the relationships. In synthetic school, the sociologists were explaining or they had an argument that it is not only to the relationships but is all about the social life of a human. So the scope is explained in these two schools, that is formalistic school and synthetic school. The next, coming to the importance and application of sociology in nursing. So definitely sociology will help us in knowing how, first of all, why sociology is important for nurses. Nurses are meant for rendering care, understanding the patient, and providing guidance to the patients. So these are the three important characteristics where the nurse plays a major role. So definitely when we are studying the sociology, it is all about the relationships, it is all about the actions, and it is all about the complete social life of a person. So when we deal with different categories of people, we require to study the people around us. Now, how it will be benefited and how it is applicable in nursing, we'll see. So, first is it provides knowledge of group life, and the secondly, it will be providing knowledge of various cultures and also gives knowledge about rendering care irrespective of the caste and creed. And also it will be molding a person's behavior to become a good citizen of a nation. Now coming to the application of sociology in nursing, it is fourfold. The nurse comes in contact with the four people in the hospital. The first one is management and doctor, second one is with the patient, third one is kinsman, and fourth one is with the community. So here, as I have already discussed, I have told you that nurse is meant to give care, guidance, and helping. So here, when she is dealing with all of the four people, she should have a proper understanding relationship with the people around. I mean to say the healthcare team members. Then next, the nurse will be developing the principle of equality. Patients from different categories, I mean to say like the different cultural background, different customs, different traditions they come, so we respect each other and we provide a prioritized care irrespective of their caste, class, and creed. Then the next is we can prevent and promote the health. This is about the importance and application of sociology in nursing. Next, the questions which will be asked in Unit 1, that is about the introduction. The questions can be like explain how a nurse can make use of knowledge of sociology in patient care. So, as I've told you, we should be making the nurse as she'll come in contact with the four categories of people. That is, I already told you, the management and doctor, patient, kinsman, and the community. These are the fourfold aspects where the nurse comes in contact with. So we have to write those points and elaborate how the nurse provides the care, the understanding, and the equality of care, and how we can promote the health of a person. Then second question can be asked like describe the importance of sociology. Then coming to the short notes, they can ask you like define sociology. So here when defining sociology, we can take two definitions at least. As I told, sociology is defined as the scientific study of social phenomena. Then other definition we can see sociology is defined as the study of social relationships. So at least two definitions if you can mention, and you can write how sociology differs from psychology. So we all know psychology is about studying the mind. So what is social psychology? So to tell you very clearly, psychology studies about the inner aspects of the mind of an individual. Sociology studies the external behavior of an individual. So social psychology deals with internal and external aspects of an individual. So this you can elaborate it and write for according to the marks given. That is, the short notes will be given for 5 marks. Then coming to the very short notes, give the meaning of the root words from which the term sociology is derived. So, sociology is derived from a Latin word that is societas, which means society, and Greek word logos, which means study. The next question is what is medical sociology? So, medical sociology is about analysis of medical organizations and production of knowledge, selection of methods, actions, and interactions of health professionals. So, these are the questions which can be asked from Unit 1. Then, coming to Unit 2, that is individual and society. So, the main definition of society and community is society is a group of people present in a geographical area. Then, community is defined as either a small or a large group of people present in an it is a territorial area of a group. So coming to the nature of society, so society includes people in it. So without people, society is not formed. Then the second thing is about the nature. People have likeness and differences. So likeness and differences talks about similarities in the people. The next is culture. Various culture people will be present in the group. Then the next is authority and cooperation will be present in this society. I repeat, nature of society includes people in it. They have likeness and differences. Culture will be present, authority and cooperation. Now, coming to the differences between society and community, if you see, society consists of a network of social relationships, and community has a network of interactions. Society is dealing with the social relationships, community is with network of interaction. The next difference is society will not have any sentiments. Community has a sense of belonging, means it has sentiments. So mostly the community people will be having we feeling towards each other. The next difference is society is not a territorial group. Community is a territorial group. Then society is composed of various communities, but community is a part of society. So society is composed of many communities. Here community is a part of society. The next comes the process of socialization and individualization. So socialization is nothing but it is the process of learning or acquiring the things. And individualization is independent or self-determined. So we'll see what includes in process of socialization. So process of socialization includes imitation, suggestion, identification, and language. In process of socialization, the learning process, the child will be acquiring through imitation. The next is suggestion, third one is identification, and the next one is language. So three through this process of four, the child acquires and learns the cultural contents. The next includes the process of individualization. So individualization is becoming self-independent or self-determined. Here, the process includes the person becomes completely different from others. And secondly, they will develop self regarding attitudes. They develop self regarding attitudes. The next is they will have introspection and inwardness. They have introspection and inwardness. This is about process of socialization and individualization. The next will see personal disorganization. So first of all, I would like to tell you what is organization and disorganization. Organization is a set of values or rules which are organized. The individual who follows everything, the rules or the regulations which are given by the society, then the person is called as organized person. When do we call a person as disorganized is when he is violating the rules and regulations present in the society, then the person is termed as personally disorganized. So there will be particularly imbalance in the physical, social, and psychological aspects. So example, like there will be physical illness, conflicts of goals, social factors will be responsible, and also conflict of roles. Personal disorganization completely deals with the imbalance of physical, social, and psychological aspects. So this is about individual and society. So the questions which can be asked like The essay can be asked like define society, and it can and draw a distinction between community and society. So here you can define what is society, and even you can just draw a table and write the differences between community and society. The next, define socialization and explain in brief various theories of socialization. So here mostly there are three theories. Socialization is what I already told you. It is the process, or it is a process of learning or acquiring the things. So that can be done by imitation, suggestion, language. I have told you. So that points you can just list out, and you have to briefly explain about theories. So it includes three theories. The first theory is called as Cooley's theory. Second theory is Mitt's theory. Third one is Freud's theory. So Cooley's theory talks about looking glass self. So here what the child will do is he will look at himself through others' eye. That is why they have termed like looking glass self. Then second theory is Metz theory. Here the child will get a picture of himself by performing the other's role. Metz theory talks about a child who will be performing the other's role. Third one, Freud's theory. So, in Freud's theory, the mind is divided into three basic things. First is id, ego, and superego. The mind is divided into three parts, that is, id, ego, and superego. It talks about satisfaction of the desire. Ego talks about mediator between desire and action. Third one, superego, is the reflection of attitudes. So Cooley's theory, Metz theory, and Freud's theory. So these theories you can just list out and explain in brief. Then next, the short can be asked like mention the impact of mass media on socialization. Here, mass media includes television, radio, or press. These all includes in mass media. So, how does it influence the socialization? So, already we discussed socialization is what is it is a process of learning. So, how this mass media can influence on social, like how it can show impact on socialization, how a person can learn. So it will influence values and attitudes of a person. The mass media can influence the attitude and the behavior of a person, the values what the person believes or follows. And it also discards the harmful habits of a person. So there are even positive points and the negative points. How does mass media affect the socialization? The next, explain about social heritage. So, social heritage is culturally learned customs. Example, I'll tell you, during occasions, we have a habit of greeting people. So, that is a cultural heritage, what we follow according to the families, like giving gifts on the occasions. Or when a person comes to house, we just shake our hands and greet them. That is a custom what we follow. That is called as social heritage. The next is characteristics of community. So you can just list out what are the characteristics. Example, like community also includes people in it. It is a territorial group. They will have sentiments. They will have permanent relations, and they have we feeling towards each other. These points can be listed out and explained in brief, because the very short will be for less marks. The next, the factors of socialization. So how socialization will be influenced, or how the factors can disturb the learning process of a child can be elaborated. The next third unit is all about culture. So first of all, culture is called as the cumulative creation of a human being. So culture is created by man itself. So coming to the nature of culture, the culture is learned, it is inculcated. What is inculcated means? It is taught to others, and it is man-made, it is dynamic, and it is complex in nature. Culture can be defined as the cumulative creation of a human being or a man, and the nature includes the culture is learned, inculcated, man made, complex, and it is dynamic in nature. Then, coming to the evolution of culture, evolution is derived from a Latin word evolver, which means develop. So, definitely, evolution it is a kind of process of development of culture. So, the development can take place in three stages. The evolution of culture, that is, the process of development of culture, can take place in three stages. That is, first is positive stage, metaphysical stage, and theological stages. Then, coming to the diversity and unity of culture. So, this unity and diversity of culture can be caused by alternatives. So there are major great factors for diversity and the factors for uniformity. So first we'll see the factors which are responsible for uniformity of culture. So the first factor includes the political unit. So whenever we talk about political, that comes the power structure, the authority, and next is territorialism. It is a territorial aspect. The next is nationalism. So the uniformity of culture includes political unit, territorial, and nationalism. The next is the factors of diversity. If you see, it includes the caste, which can divert the culture, means the negativity of the culture. Caste, religion, language, and race. Caste, religion, language, and race. These are the factors of diversity. Then next comes the culture and socialization. Culture and socialization. So it is a process of socialization where we have anticipatory socialization, personality, cultural differences, behavior, and Indian culture. So how culture and how socialization interconnect. That is, it has anticipatory socialization, personality development can take place, cultural differences will be present, and behavioral aspects will be present, and Indian culture will be present. The next we'll see about transcultural society. So transculture is what? An exchange of cultural items when two different cultures come together. The transcultural society is exchange of cultural items when two different cultures come in contact continuously with one another. And it includes factors like, see, when there is an exchange of cultural traits, the factors are responsible, like the culture should have, the people should have interest when they exchange the cultural traits. The second thing, they should have a common language. Without common language, exchange of culture is difficult. Then they should have a necessity in the sense they should have a purpose for exchanging their cultural traits. So this is about transcultural society. That is simply the exchange of cultural items when there are two different cultures coming in contact continuously for a particular purpose. Then the next one is influence on health and disease. How culture gets influenced on health and disease. So definitely culture will have a major impact on health and disease, because there are different cultures where they follow different traits, where they will ignore the medical services. So we'll see few of the health, how the culture will influence on health and disease. So first is, in sickness, most of the people who different cultures, they offer prayers instead of approaching the hospital. They offer prayers. The next, the childless couple will go to different pilgrimages for offering different sacrifices or prayers. So they go for a tour. Instead of going for medical checkup, they go with the pilgrimages. Next, parda system. So this parda system, mostly which is followed by Muslims, have greater impact on deficiency of vitamin D because of lack of exposure to sun. Then other thing is, when people get chicken pox or smallpox, they think that that is the curse from the goddess. So instead of approaching the hospital, they go with the medical treatment, but they won't approach the hospital. They think that, they believe, the superstitious believes that it is because of the curse from the goddess. The next is open field defecation. They have a culture of open field defecation that can again pollute the environment and causes different diseases for a person. So these are few of the points how culture can influence a person. So coming to the questions which are asked from this units. So if you see the essay, first is explain the concept of culture and discuss various characteristics. So culture is learned, inculcated, man-made, complex, and dynamic. So these are the points. First, you can define what is culture, and you can put the points and briefly explain about each point. And secondly, explain how culture will influence the health and disease. So just now we discussed how the culture and what are the practices the people will do and ignore the health. The next is short notes. Explain the concept of transculturation. That is, the next is second one. Give details of unity caused by alternatives. Here you have to explain about the factors of unity and factors of diversity. Then coming to the very short notes. Here you have to uh, classify the Indian races. So we have different races. Example like Cascadian race, that is, they are called even as, excuse me, they are called even as a white race, and Mongoloid race, and Anglo race. So these are the different races that generally we have whites, blacks. Then we can, second one is list out the factors of diversity. Here again we have to list out like what are the factors, that is caste, religion, language and race. These are the list of factors of diversity. Then coming to the fourth unit, it is about social groups. So first coming to the meaning, that is definition and the classification of social group. So we define social group as when two or more individuals come together and influence each other. So social groups is defined as when two or more individuals come in contact together and influence each other. Coming to the classification of groups, we have involuntary groups, voluntary groups, delegate group, in group, out group, primary group, secondary group, vertical groups, horizontal group. So these are different types of classification, but mostly concentrated on primary group and secondary group. So these classifications are based on different sociologists. So a sociologist who has classified groups into primary and secondary, and other sociologists who have classified into involuntary group, voluntary group, and delegate group. Then other one is in group and out group. The next is primary and secondary group. So as we all know, primary and secondary, the difference between primary and secondary. See, primary is considered as a prioritized group. Secondary group is the like the less prioritized. So example I can give you, primary group we can take family as an example. So family is considered as a primary group where immediately when the child is born, the child will be exposed to the family. So the process of socialization begins from the primary group. Then the child gets exposed to the secondary group. Example I'll give you, secondary group is the school or the community around. So we'll see what are the differences between this primary and secondary group. So primary group, I have given example of a family. So definitely if you see the family, the primary group is smaller in size and secondary group is larger in size. Then coming to the other differences, here they have face-to-face interactions in primary group. Face-to-face interactions in primary group. Then second one is they will have indirect communication in the secondary group. Then third difference is primary group people will have intimate relationships with each other. It is personal relationships. Then secondary group people will have contractual communication between each other. The next difference is they will have informal control over the people. Secondary group will have formal control of people. That is example like formal group, formal control in the sense they will have rules and regulations. The next difference is cooperation will be same in the primary group. In secondary group, they will have indirect cooperation. Then coming to in group versus out group. So first I'll tell you what is in group and what is out group. So in group is where an individual is present in the group, that group is called as in group. Out group is where the person is outside, means it is he is not present in the group. That group is called as out group. So this is the major difference where the person is present, he is considering that group as in group. So when an individual is present in the group, they have we feeling towards their group. We together. Then out group is where the individual is not present, so he will consider the out group as they. Next, coming to the class. So class is where the individuals who exhibit same standard of living. Class is all about where the person exhibit same standard of living. Example, I'll tell you: upper class, lower middle class. So there are different types of classes. These are based on their status and the role, the position. The next is a tribe. So tribe is again a social group with the territorial area. Tribe is a social group with a territorial geographical area. The next is the caste. So the caste word is derived from a Portuguese word, casta, means it is a breed or lineage. So example, I'll tell you, the same caste people will have the same surname. They carry the same name from generations to generation. So this is derived from a Portuguese word. Casta means breed or lineage. The next, dietary sources of fats and fatty acids. So this is completely related to like how I told you social groups means where two or more people come in contact and influence each other. So when this group is present, in the group there are people with different cultural backgrounds and different religions or different customs or different values they have. So these all people to get scattered together exist. So their dietary sources of fats and fatty acids, why this is given in this topic is because different person from different cultural aspect, they won't take, example I'll tell you, Brahmins, they don't take non-veg. So taking non-veg will have nutritious values in it. So the person who is not taking this diet may have deficiency of those. So first of all, we'll see from where this fat and fatty acids comes from. The sources are mostly we can take egg, fish, meat, nuts, and all the milk products. That is the butter, cheese. So these all milk products can give you this fat and fatty acids. So these are the dietary sources of fats. Then next, coming to the economic group. So whenever you talk about economic group, there should be three things kept in the mind. First one is production, second one is distribution, and third one is the consumption. Consumption or exchange of goods. Production, distribution, and consumption. These are the three things which will be in the economic group. Then second one is political group. So political group is involved in the activities of power structure. Political group is involved in the activities of power structure. The next is religious group. So religious group is coherent system of beliefs and practices. Coherent system of beliefs and practices. The next is mob. A mob is a large, disorderly crowd of people. A mob is a large, disorderly, crowded people. Then crowd is an unorganized social group. The difference between mob and crowd is here also a group of people will be present. The same crowd also is different people present in a group. The difference between mob and crowd is in mob, disorderly crowd is present. In crowd, it is an unorganized group. Example, I'll tell you, if an accident happens, the people just gather, then they disappear. That is unorganized. The next is public and audience interaction. So public and audience, same again here, it will be like example of a crowd. So audience are what? Where we gather people for a particular learning process. We gather people for a particular purpose. So that is about audience and public. So generally here crowd will be physical. Then next we'll talk about accommodation. So accommodation is all about adjusting to a new environment. Accommodation is adjusting to a new situation or a new area. So that can include with the compromise or with the rationalization or with sublimation. You just adjust and accommodate to a given situation or a particular area. The next is assimilation. So assimilation is the process of absorption and incorporation of the culture of one group by the other group. Assimilation is the process of absorption and incorporation of culture from one group to the other group. Isolation. So here isolation is segregating people away from the group. So the isolation again it will be of two kinds, that is complete isolation and partial isolation. So complete is where the person will be completely away from the group. Partial is the person by himself will be isolated for a particular duration or a period of time. Then again he will be in the group. So the definition, the questions from this unit is first essay, if you see, define social group and explain about the characteristics and functions. So you will define what is a social group and what are the characteristics and functions. Characteristics I already told you, it will have different, like the size of the group will either it is smaller group or it is a larger group based on the type of a group. So you'll be listing out either primary and secondary group. The second question which can be asked like describe the characteristics and functions of a primary group. Then second, the short notes will be differentiate between in-group and out-group. So in-group and out-group will be differentiated like the person in the group becomes in-group. When he is not present in the group, then he is called as an out-group. So here we feeling will be present and in the out-group they will have they feeling towards each other. The next The role of religion. So how does the religion influence a person is it will mold the person's behavior, and it will have a great control of human behavior. It will have a great control on the human behavior. Then very short will be asked like the characteristics of primary group, which was already discussed in the first essay. Then second is explain about the horizontal and vertical group. So horizontal groups are smaller groups. Example I can tell you like a family. Vertical groups are family, friends. These all comes under horizontal group. It is like primary group. Then vertical groups are larger groups. Example I can tell you political groups, which is considered as a secondary group. Then moving on to the next unit, population. So, as we have discussed, society is a small or large group of people present in a geographical area. Then coming to the population. So, population is total number of people living in a particular area at a particular time. Population is defined as a total number of people present in a particular area at a particular time. So, this is how you can define population. So, how the population distribution in India takes place? So, it completely depends upon the demographic characteristics. So, the demographic characteristics includes first is fertility. So, fertility means the actual childbearing process or the childbearing period. That is fertility. Then, second is the second characteristic goes with mortality. Mortality means the termination of life. Then third one is migration. This is permanent movement of people from one particular area to another particular area. These are the three main demographic characteristics. First is fertility, second one is mortality, third one is migration. The next comes to the Malthusian theory of population. Here the Robert Malthus has proposed this theory of population based on two important things. The first one is the population is increased rapidly than the food production. That is the first concept of him. And the second one is subsistence determines the size of population. He wants to explain the Malthusian theory of population based on these two aspects. So he had explained the principles of theory, like, see, first of all, what he wanted to explain in this theory is how the population is increasing and how the food production is produced. So he explained in this theory in a simple manner that the man is able to produce his race rapidly than producing the food. Example I'll tell you. According to his theory, the population will grow geometrically like 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, or 32. It is doubled. But the production of food will grow in arithmetical manner. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that. So, with this example, he proved that the man is able to produce his race double than the food production. So he suggested that this theory is for the production of food than the race. So he has given three suggestions, that is for controlling the population growth and education to bring about awareness among the people, and thirdly application of science and technology in the agriculture, in the field of agriculture. By stating or by giving this theory, he suggested these three aspects. Then the next is population explosion in India and how it will impact on the health status. So you all know what is population explosion. That is the the rapid increase in the population over a long period of time. Appropriately by the end of by 2002, the world population was about 225 million. So when the population has been increased, how it can show impact on the health of a person. So first impact will be on the scarcity of food. As the people are more, there will be less food for the people. Then secondly, there will be scarcity of drinking water. And thirdly, there will be increasing of slums. Because of overpopulation, there will be no area for the people to live, have shelter. So there will be overgrowing of slums. Next, they will have limited medical services. As we can see in many of the hospitals where the people are more and the services which are and the hospital beds and all are not sufficient for the people. The next is water pollution will be present, and illiteracy will be present, poverty will be there, unemployment will be there. These all can show a greater major impact on the health status. Next, coming to the family welfare programs. So the aim of the family welfare program is to get overall well-being of the members of the families. So the general welfare programs which are carried out are universal immunization program, oral rehydration therapy, and protecting the children from polio and tetanus, TB, and there is an integrated child development program, and also they have national nutritional programs. These are all the welfare programs which are benefited for individuals. Then coming to the questions which are asked from this unit is essay. You can see write an essay on Malthusian theory of population, which you have to explain about the uh, suggestions of Malthusian theory and what were the objectives or aims of this theory. And you can just briefly write about how he has explained the production of race and production of food. The next, we can define what is demography and what is about various demographic factors. So demography is a statistical analysis in numbers, which we give in a number form. Statistical analysis of people present in a geographical area. So already we discussed demographic factors like in fertility, mortality, and migration. The next, the short notes, it is the difference between society and population. The next is write the details of migration. So migration is about permanent movement of people from different areas. Then in very short, they can ask you like what is meant by demography. That is the statistical numbering of people present in a particular area. Then we can write about definition of family welfare. Then what is population explosion? Then what is universal immunization? So universal immunization is where the children are given vaccination and just to prevent mortality rate or to reduce the mortality rate and reduce the morbidity rates of children below 5 years of age mostly. So mostly it was started in the year 1983. And then moving on to the next unit, that is family and marriage. So coming to the definition or what family exactly is. Family is a kind of group or grouping for a contract of producing children. It is defined as a kind of grouping and a contract for production and maintenance of children. Then coming to the functions of family. So the family consists of certain functions like they have sex desire, they have reproduction, they have economic function, they have religious function, they have a recreational function. These are all the functions which are present. Functions in the sense, these are the things which are present in the family. The next coming to the types of families. So we have joint family and nuclear family. Actually, the classification of family is based on many things. So joint family and nuclear family is based on the composition. So joint family is a family which consists of more than three generations. A joint family is considered as a family which consists of more than two or three generations. The nuclear family consists of two generations. And then next, blended family is here the children will be of the spouse. Like example, I can tell you step family. Step family means the couple who got like divorced or separated, but they have children of the previous partner. So in other terms, in the social terms, we can call it as blended family or step family. Here, the couple will have children of the spouse who was before. The next is extended family. So, extended family, when we call this, is it's similar to joint family. So, joint family is what? Here, there will be more than two or three generations. So, extended family is not only about presence of parents and children, but their relatives, their grandparents, and their aunts, uncles, they also present in the family, that is extended family. So if you see the characteristics of family, family is present everywhere. So that is why it is called as universal. The another characteristic is the family runs on the emotional basis. Next, it will have a limited size. Example, if you see joint and nuclear family, they have limited size of members in the family. Then family has a nuclear position and they have responsibility of the members. These are all the characteristics. Then they will have permanent relationships, permanent and temporary relations. So generally permanent relationships are like every family member will be staying in the family, but there also exist temporary relations where a girl gets married and moves to another family, so they have temporary, they are, the presence is temporary in the family. The next comes with modern family changes. So there are different or the categories of modern changes in the family, where maybe the lifestyle of the family members or the people inside or the customs what they follow may be modified, and the fashion they follow, the dressing way or the style what they carry, that all have been changed. Then coming to the problems of dowry and welfare services. So coming to the dowry, so dowry is an Anglo-French word which means dower. The meaning of dower is money. So this dowry is a custom which is given by the bride to the bridegroom just for a prestige, we can say, or just to have a good position in the family. So they have equally the merits of dowry and also demerits of dowry. Suppose if you take the merits of dowry, she will have a good position in the family. All the She will have a good prestige in the family. And if you see the negative points, the family members may go into poverty. So these are the negative and also the positive points for dowry. The next comes the changes and legislation on family and marriage in India. So here there are many legislation or marriage acts which was beneficial for a woman. So we had many customs. So for that there are many freedom fighters who have fought for the freedom or the rights of a woman after getting married. So the first act is the Prevention of Sati Act. So Sati Act, all of us know that Sati means what? Immolation of wife along with the husband. So the Prevention of Sati Act was given in the year 1829. So now this practice is not followed. And the second act is the Hindu Widow Remarriages Act. This was given in the year 1856. The next is the Civil Marriage Act. The next, the Child Remarriage Act. Then the next one is Hindu Marriage Act. Then the lastly, Dowry Prohibition Act. These are the acts which were given for the family and the woman. The next we'll see about the marriage, what are the forms and what are the functions of marriage. So marriage we can simply define it is the bond between two people or two mates. It is the social union of man and woman. So if you see the forms of marriage, we have monogamy, polygyny, polyandry, parallel cousin marriage, and cross cousin marriage. These are the types of marriages: monogamy, polygyny, polyandry, parallel cousin marriage, cross cousin marriage, group marriage, endogamy, and exogamy. So these are the forms of marriages. And if you see the functions of marriages, the first function includes biological function, second one is gratification of sex desire, third one is foundation for family and expansion of kinship, educational function. So these are the functions of marriages. And next we'll see the marriage and family problems in India. So what are the marriage and family problems in India? First problem is marital breakdown. Second one is because of the dowry. First is lack of understanding or adjustment. It lands up with marital breakdown. Second one is dowry. Third one is laxity in sex relations. The next is conflicts between the spouse. Next is problems of early marriages where the person may not be adjusting with each other. Next is problems of late marriage. The next we'll see how the family and marriage, how it will influence the health and health practices. So definitely how the family will influence on health is, first thing is which type of family it is. Either it is a joint family or nuclear family. Based on that, it can be influenced. The second thing is family income. In case of joint families and extended families, the family income plays a major role. Next is location of the house. Like example, I told you, if overpopulation is there, there will be overgrowth of slums. So we should have even the good surroundings around the house. Next is family heredity. There are hereditary diseases which can transfer from generations to generations. So if there is any family history of any diseases can be transmitted to the person. Then other social causes. Example like poverty, lack of proper education, alcoholism or smoking habits can land up with health issues. So coming to the questions, what are the various functions of family? Here you can just list out the functions of family. If it is essay, definitely you have to write about the definition of family. Then you have to list about each of the function and explain one in detail. The next is explain merits and demerits of family, joint family. So definitely joint family has merits and demerits. Merits example I can give you. They will have a good division of work, and they will have good interpersonal relationship. They will have what love and care towards each other. Then if you see the demerits of joint family, here because of more number of people, there is lack of privacy to the people. Then coming to the short notes, mention about nuclear family. Here you can write definition of nuclear family, and you can just write about the family members present in it. And then next, relationship between family and health. So how family will influence the health depending upon the type of family. Example, joint family or nuclear family, how it will influence the health. Next, explain the problem of dowry. That is disadvantages of or demerits of dowry. Then very short, it is mention about the civil marriage. Like we have many acts of marriages, and what are the acts which are given by the government can be elaborated here. The next is explain about hypergamy and hypogamy. Hypergamy is marrying a person above our caste. Hypogamy is marrying a person who is below to our caste. That difference you can write here. The next, moving on to the social stratification. So social stratification is defined as division of people depending upon the caste and class. Social stratification is division of people in the sense society, division of society into higher and lower class. So coming to the types of social stratification, we have majorly two types of social stratification, that is caste system and class system. So if you see the features of caste, so caste has uh, the characteristics. If you see about caste, it will have, the caste will be given by birth. It is determined by birth. The next, it has hierarchy. Hierarchy in the sense, according to Hindu casteism, we have mainly four varnas. That is Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Sudras. The next, food exchange system. So, food exchange system is supplementation of the food which is not taken by the other person. I have told you example when I have dealt with sources of fats and fatty acids. Here example, the caste of different caste people will be avoiding different foods. So that will be deficiency in many of the vitamins or proteins, carbohydrates, which can be replaced with the same additional food. So food exchange system is a supplementation of another food in case of the suppose example the meat is not taken by Brahmins, so that can be exchanged with a vegetable which has the same nutritional values. The next we'll see about the class system. So the class system is universal, means it is present everywhere. Class is what? It is a position given to a person based on the role or status of an individual. The next is the status. So the status is given by the class or the role the person performs. Next is the social mobility. Social mobility is the movement of person from one place to another place. Social is people. The people moving from one place to another place. And the types include horizontal mobility. Horizontal is moving from one position to another position. That is horizontal. Then vertical position is moving from one position to another position with unequal status. In horizontal, they will have equal status, but the movement will be present from one to another. In vertical mobility, the changes will be taken from one position to another position of unequal status. The next type is intragenerational mobility and intergenerational mobility. Intragenerational is the movement takes place within the same generation. Suppose example, a person who is working as a worker in the company, after few years he will become the supervisor. Means from the same generation he is moving forward. The next is intergenerational mobility. This takes place, the movement of person takes place from generation to another generation. Suppose if a father is working as a attender, the son becomes the son will be in a higher position to the father. He can become a engineer. The next is race. So race is like race consists of number of breeds with same physical characteristics. Same physical characteristics. So if you see the classification of races, it depends upon the color of the skin, color of the hair, color of the eyes, and stature of the body and structure of the head. This is the classification. Now we'll see the silent features of primary races. So there are mainly three primary races. Cascoid race, that is also called as white race. Second one is Mongoloid race, which is called as yellow race. Third one is Negroid race, that is black race. Then racism is a feeling of superiority over other race. Racism is feeling superior over the other race. Example, the whites will be feeling superior over the blacks. So now, how the influence of caste, class, and race influences the health. So generally, you can see the lower class people suffer from poverty, illiteracy, unemployment, and improper housing facilities, and lack of drinking water or poor sanitation. These are all the problems which are faced by the lower caste people. If you see the upper class people, they have all the things, so they will be having a improved health status. Then depending upon the caste, if you see, example, the Brahmins will not eat garlic, or they will not eat fish, egg, mutton, so they may suffer with some nutritional deficiencies. Then coming to the race, mostly this black men are more double than the, like, they are exposed to get many of the heart diseases more than the black women. And there are mostly communicable diseases especially found among the poor race people. And maternal mortality rate is much higher among the blacks when compared to the whites. Then coming to the questions, if you see, the first question will be the give the meaning of the word stratification and describe the characteristics. So you can write what is stratification, that is division of people among di- division of people based on the upper class and lower class. Then you can describe the characteristics. The next is what is race, like define race and classification of race. That is based upon the color, based upon the structure of head, based upon the um, color of the skin. These all can be listed out. Then short notes discuss about the relationship between caste and health. Second, explain about the factors of social mobility. Then very short, if you see, mention the characteristics of, can't be seen. So mention the characteristics of class system. So you can write how the class gets influenced, or how it will be showing impact on the people. What are the characteristics of the class? The next, moving on to the next unit, that is types of communities. We have already discussed in the introduction. We have three types of communities, that is rural community, urban community, and regional community. When coming to the features of village community, we have mainly, so the village community will be smaller in size, and it has less density of population. Means the people present in the village are very few in number, few families will be present in. And the proximity is, the distance between the people is very close. Then they will have a natural environment in the village community, and they have common occupation, so mostly they go for uh, different raising different crops and rearing different animals. So most of the village people will have the common occupation. The next, they have simple mode of living. Then they have social mobility, but many of the people from the village community are migrating to the urban community for their livelihood, because of lack of the required sources in the village community. But now much of the development has been taken place in the village communities. So now we'll see what is panchayat system. So panchayat system is like a taking democracy to the down level, to the village level. So here, the Panchayat Raj system is a development which is brought to the rural areas. So here they have different objectives like developing the village industries and also increasing the agriculture production and using the manpower. So this is about panchayat system. But the panchayat system is consisting of three tier system. First is village panchayat, second one is panchayat samiti, third one is zilla parshad. So Parshad Panchayat system goes with three of this. First village panchayat, second one is panchayat samiti, third one is Zilla Parshad. The next we'll study about social dynamics. So it deals with changing the developmental aspects of society. Dynamics deals with the changing and developmental aspects of the society. Next, we'll see what is the community development project and planning. So this is only to uplift the rural community through three main objectives. This project is only to uplift the rural communities by having three major objectives. First one is increasing the agriculture production. Second one is having cooperation. Third one is utilizing the manpower. The next is changes. What are the changes which takes place in the rural life? So first change we can see here is weakening of joint families. Means the joint families are disappearing now in the villages. Second one is change in the caste system. Third is change in the literacy status. Because nowadays everybody are educated even in the villages. Then eradication of poverty which takes place slowly. The next is changes in the economy and changes in the social life. There is much improvement in the transportation. Now everything is available in the rural areas. They have the bus facility, they have the car facility, everything is changed in the rural areas. Now we'll see what are the available facilities in the health facilities in the rural areas. First is they have primary health centers at the rural areas, they have sub centers and the village services. These are the main three aspects or the facilities which are present in the rural areas. Now, how the rural facilities will have impact on the health? So, majorly because of scarcity of water or they doesn't know what is the value of how the food should be cooked. Overcooking of food will be landing up with loss of nutritious nutritive values from it. So that is one uh, impact. The second one is consumption of impure and polluted water which can land up with waterborne diseases. Then second one is they will have practice of early marriages. So if early marriages are done, then it can affect both the mother and the child. Then next, they believe in superstitious, like example, like spiritual, magical, and religious forces that they will be curing the diseases. And they believe in healing practices. And a practice of open field defecation can land with many communicable diseases. So these are the facilities of rural areas. Then next coming to the urban areas. So when compared to the rural, urban community is larger in size and it has uh, a far distance. The proximity is distant. They will not have close relationship with each other. They will have temporary relations. And the most important characteristic feature of this urban community is they will have social control and the nature of occupation will be different. And mostly the urban communities will have nuclear families. and individualization is present in urban community. Then there is an artificial environment in the community. When it is compared, it is just opposite to the rural community. So whatever characteristics you just write in the rural community, the opposite will be present in the urban community. So artificial environment is present, uh, only nuclear families are existing, individualization is present, and so social mobility is present in the urban communities. Then coming to the growth of cities, so why there is growth of cities is because of the overpopulation and because of the economic surplus, and there is development in the transportation, and there is development in the education, and improved communication system is present, and there is migration. That is why, because of these reasons, there is growth of cities. Now, how urbanization will impact the health? Till now, we studied how rural life will impact the health of the person. Because of lack of awareness among the rural people, it showed many effects on the health. Now we'll see the urbanization people are aware of the things, but how it can impact the health of the person. So we have positive and also negative effects on the health. So positive is because of the literacy rate is high, the people are aware of the health. So if they have any health issues, they immediately approach the hospital or the doctor for the medical services. Then they have many super specialty hospitals, they have different medical professionals. So these are all the positive points. When it comes to the negative, here the people are more addicted to the drugs, and habit of alcoholism is present, so which can greatly damage the health of a person. Then mostly the upper class people suffer with diabetes, hypertension, and also occupational diseases are more common among people who work in industries, and also the people who migrate from different countries. When they come back to the native place, they transfer many infections or diseases from that area to the other area. So these are the major problems of urban. Then coming to the major urban problems. So here, because of migration, because of the poverty, because of alcoholism, because of crimes, because of unemployment, the urban people will suffer from major health problems. So now coming to the region. So region is a small geographical area. So how does this geographical region will affect the health of a person? So mainly I told you, irrespective of the place, the lifestyle of a person and the habits of a person can make a person to land up with the health issues. So the first is mostly north coastal region of Andhra Pradesh people. They have a habit of smoking cigar in reverse position, so they can land up with oral cancers. And mostly the people from USA have been with the swine flu, which was from USA. It was from Mexico. It was transferred to USA. The next, TB, that is tuberculosis, was the rate of tuberculosis was more among the low income countries, and diphtheria is a disease which is very rare, which was present in the developed countries, and respiratory tract infections were more commonly seen in developing countries, and diarrhea also is present mostly in the developing countries, and measles was more commonly seen among the preschooler children in the developing countries. Then coming to the questions, if you see, the essay will be asked on the write an essay on Panchayat Raj and social dynamics. So you can write about the three-tier system, that is Panchayat Samiti, Zilla Parshad, and village. The next is describe the describe briefly the changes occurred in the rural Indian rural life. So how the lifestyle of the people are and what are the facilities and the changes which has been taken place in the rural life can be explained in brief. Then short notes explain about the region and its disease. Just now what we have discussed, the north coastal region and the Mexico, the places and what are the diseases which is caused by them. The next, various rural health practices. So, how the rural people were practicing the, uh, we can say the pattern of lifestyle, what they have been practiced, and how it was influencing their health. Then, coming to the very short, what is the role of Panchayat Raj in village development? So, it was a developing step for the village people for bringing many facilities and developmental changes. The next is defined community. So, community is a small or larger area with a territorial aspect. The next is enlist the characteristics of urban community. So, here you can mention maximum 2 to 3 characteristics of urban community. Then, coming to the social change. So, change itself will give a meaning that change is for the betterment of a development. So social change is the change in the social relationships. So coming to the nature, every society requires a change. Why change is required for every society? To bring development. So coming to the process of socialization or social change, we can see changes in the social values, and we can see institutional changes, then social evolution and social progress. So these are the process of social change. First is changes in the values of people, institutional changes, then social evolution change, and social progress. So these are the process of social change. Next we'll see the factors which are influencing social change. First factor will be biological factor. Next is the demographic factor, geographical factor, and technological factor. So these are not mostly concentrated, but you can concentrate on the cultural lag here. So cultural lag is what, something which is behind. Cultural lag is what, where the customs or the culture which is lagging behind. So here we have two types of cultural lag: materialistic culture and non-materialistic culture. The next, if you see cultural change, we have different factors like innovation. See, definitely innovation is very important factor for a change in the culture, which will greatly influence. The next is revolution. So it is the revolution is the radical changes which takes place in the society. Then coming to the theories of social change. So mostly the theories will not be asked in the exam point of view, but maybe for 2 marks question they can ask you what is linear theory, what is cyclical theory, and Marxian theory, functional theory. So a brief introduction, like linear theory is completely about progress of change from one step to another step. Example, I'll tell you, metaphysical stage is the first step. Sorry, theological stage, metaphysical stage, and positive stage. So, theological stage, here the man believes that the world is created by supernatural power. This is the theological stage. We are discussing about linear theory where we have theological stage, metaphysical stage, and positive stage. So, theological stage is about supernatural powers, metaphysical stage is about abstractions, and the positive stage is about ultimate perfection. This is about linear theory. The next is cyclical theory, which is about completely, it deals with all the societies for growth and decline, that is rise and fall of the incidents which takes place in the society. So whatever the number of stages or the cycles which will grow, that will be more than once, or even it can be repeatedly. So rise and fall can happen once, or it can take place repeatedly. So here they will be having ideational stage, idealistic stage, and the sensate stage. This is about cyclical theory. Then comes with the Marxian theory. This is called as conflict theory. Conflict theory. So conflict means it is a ruling class of theory. So every stage will be prepare the ground for the next stage. So Marxian theory is also called as conflict theory, where the human society will pass through different stages which will have ground for the next stage. The next, functional theory. Functional is completely based upon the structure and function of the social system. Structural and functional of the social system. So how, what is the role of a nurse in in the social change agents? So here the nurse will perform a role of having communication and having interpersonal skills with the people around, and she should have a problem solving skilled attitude, and they should be able to take decisions, and they should have a proper sense of timing, and she has to have ability to encourage and nurture to go through the change. So these are the roles or responsibilities of a nurse in social change. Then coming to the questions, here they can ask you like define evolution and explain about the theory of social evolution. What roles does a nurse play as an agent of social change? And in short notes, they can ask you like explain the demographic factors and explain the concept of cultural lag. That is, here you can write about materialistic and non-materialistic culture. And coming to the very short essay, here you can write about five theories of social change. Example, cyclical theory, mm, functional theory, the five theories, that is Marxian theory. These all theories you have to just list out. Then next is the characteristics. List out the characteristics of social change, how the social change can take place. That is example universal, it is present everywhere. So that characteristics you can just mention in the character social change characteristics. Then coming to the other unit, that is social organization and social system. So social organization is establishing order in the society. It is defined as establishing organization in the society. That is orderly events which occurs systematically and sequentially. Then coming to the elements, they have four elements. First is personality. The second one is institution. The third one is culture. And fourth one is social control. These are the four elements present in the social organization. Then coming to the um, voluntary association. So here we have two types of social organization, that is democratic and authoritarian mode of participation. So here democratic participation is completely about the three generations: first generation, second generation, and third generation. So first generation talks about the freedom, second generation talks about the participation, and third generation talks about democracy among countries. Then authoritarian is a form of government which will be insisting on unqualified obedience. It is insisting on the unqualified obedience. Then coming to the voluntary associations, these are called as non-governmental organization. So these will be, this organization or associations will be working out of, they are non-benefit organizations. So mostly they will have general characteristics like they will not have any profit from the organizations, but they render their services to the people present. The next comes to the social system. It is completely defined as the structure and function of the social system is called the social entity with a definite structure and function. The social system is defined as the social entity with definite structure and function is called as social system. And coming to the types of social system, we have two types, that is functional and structural. Functional and structural social system. So functional completely explains about the uh, tension management and goal attainment and integration. The next is structural, completely explains about the kinship system, which is composed of families. Social system which is completely based on the kinship, that is the families. The next we'll study about the role and status. So role is which a person enacts, or the part which is played by an individual. But when it comes to the status, it is recognized, or it is the designation of a person, or the position of a person is called as status. So they have different structural elements based on the status and role. So role has, like example, they have expressive role, they have dual role, they have reciprocal. These are the different elements of role. And status have ascribed status. This is ascribed in the sense which is given by based on the birth of a person. Example like caste, sex, age. These are the status which is given by birth. Then next is interrelationships of institution. So the complete interrelationship of institution is based on the means of control and utilization of social energy. So the institutions example I'll tell you: family, marriage, religion, educational institutions, political institutions. These are the interrelationships. So here it is a means of control and utilization of social energy. This is about social organization. So the questions can be asked like describe various types of social system and define social institution, explain their interrelationships, and short explain the characteristics of voluntary association, like what are the responsibilities of this non-government organizations. Then you can explain different functional problems of a social system, and finally what is a social organization. Then coming to the social control. So being in a society, definitely social control is required, so to control the behavior of an individual. So first we'll see the types of social control, or the nature of social control. So we have formal way of control and informal way of control, and we have self control and also group control, and where we can control the people by sanctions and also by suggestions, and also we can control people by unconscious means and conscious means of social control. So this is how we can control the behavior of a person. The next comes to the political, religious, and legal educational institutions. Sorry, educational control. Here, the political I already discussed, that is the power structure where every authority is given to the authority over the people. So here they can control the people by formal ways by keeping rules and regulations. The next is legal way of controlling a group, and religious way is where the person molds uh, by believing the spiritual rites, or by following the spiritual rites where the person will modify his behavior or control his behavior. The next is educational, that is completely the awareness about the society, how they have to be, and what are the rules, what are the customs, what are the traditions they need to follow, which will be educated to the group or the public. The next is economic group. So this is completely connected with the production, distribution, and consumption. So based on these three things, the group can be controlled. The next is industrial and technological systems. Here there is rapid industrialization, which is responsible for urbanization. So, rapid industrialization is responsible for urbanization. So, again, urbanization can land up with many problems which will influence the health of a person. The next, norms. So, norms are the standards of society. So, norms can be clearly termed as the rules, how a person has to behave. Now, norms are the rules which the person has to behave. The next comes to the values. So, values are standards of a group or the society. So, values are the example we can take ideas and the things can be considered which is important to a person. Values are the things which are considered important for a person. The next is folkways. Folkways are the way of life of a person. So, how the person can modify his behavior through their lifestyle. Then, coming to the mores and customs. So, mores are completely the habits and traditions. Customs are ways of doing things. Mores are habits and traditions. Customs are ways of doing things. Then next is fashion. So fashion is completely about style of a person. That is completely based upon the clothes or hairstyle or a type of housing where they are living, or the jewelry what they use. This all includes in the fashion. So what is the role of a nurse in social control is, first of all, as a nurse, we should educate the patient about controlling the eating habits, and we should encourage about the nutritive values of the foods what they take. Then the second important aspect is the behavior of a patient can be controlled or modified. Suppose if they have any habits of alcoholism or smoking, we can educate the ill effects or the side effects or the evil effects of alcoholism and smoking to the patient. The next role is we should show full care to the patient, whether he is completely dependent on the nurse, or if a person is completely dependent on the nurse, then he should be provided complete care. If he is partially dependent, then partial care is required for the patient. Then the nurse has to also develop new attitudes and feelings which will develop in patient a sense of control. So this is the role of a nurse. So the essay will be asked like, what is a social norm and why people conform themselves to the social norms. Then the short notes can be asked like, what is the role of education in social control? Then details of legal code and social control. Then very short can be asked like, what is the role of law in social control? So law is an enactment of a right given to a person from the government, a legal right which is given by the government. Then coming to the next unit, that is social problems. So social problems are the major problems which the society is facing today. So it can be defined as the behavior patterns or the conditions that are considered objectionable by many members. The behavior patterns which are considered as objection by many of the members. So first we'll see what is social disorganization. Any person disorganized or violating the norms or the values or the traditions or the customs of the society, he is called or he is termed as a socially disorganized person. Then next is coming to the poverty. So poverty, again here we have two types, that is absolute poverty and relative poverty. Absolute poverty is where the person is not able to get minimum requirements of the minimum requirements for his livelihood. Then relative poverty is where he is able to meet his physical needs, but he is not able to cope up with the rest of the livelihood. That is absolute and partial relative. The next comes to the housing. So there are proper housing facilities, how a house should be constructed. Example, I'll tell you, the door of a house should, the entrance door of the house should be big so that the person shouldn't bend his head when he is entering the house. So construction of house requires few requirements, and proper ventilation should be present, proper sanitation around the house should be present. So these are all the requirements of housing. Then comes to the illiteracy. So illiteracy is also a major problem which is faced by the society presently. So if illiteracy is present, definitely there will be lack of knowledge among the people, and they will be landed up with the poverty, and they will be having, they cannot develop a personality, and they will be completely dependent upon each other, and it can be having a greater impact on the proper decision making in life. So these are few of the evil effects if illiteracy is present in the society. Then comes to the food supplies. So food is considered as an essential item for a human being to survive. So whatever food we take, that should be completely comprised of all the essential nutritious nutrients which are required for the build-up of the human body. So it includes mainly proteins, carbohydrates, fats, minerals, and vitamins. So these are need to, like these nutrients need to be taken equally. That is called as balanced food by every individual to maintain the proper health. Then comes to the prostitution. So prostitution is an intercourse for hiring money. So here we have different prostitutes, like example, call girls, street prostitutes, temple girls, concubines. These prostitutes can land up with many of the health issues, like example, they go with sexually transmitted infections, and also they suffer with HIV or AIDS. Then coming to the rights of women and children. So mostly these rights and women and children are to safeguard and have the freedom of life. So first of all, we'll see the rights of children. So first is they have right for free education, they have right to name and nationality, they have right to play, and they have a right for affection and security, and they have right to enjoy these rights irrespective of the race, color, sex, religion, and nationality. So every child has to have all these rights irrespective where they are present, what age they have, and like irrespective of the sex. Then coming to the rights of the woman. So the first right of a woman is she has a right to live even after the death of the husband. Then second right is a right to have freedom from evil custom of early marriage. Then next, a right of having the husband should take acceptance of the wife to adopt son or a daughter. If a husband wants to adopt children, he has to have permission from the wife. Then next right is the daughters are given equal right to enjoy the inheritance of the parents. That is, the property can be even taken by the daughters equally along with the sons. The next is equal uh, right for getting equal wages. A right for a woman to get equal wages. These are some of the rights of women. The next coming to the elderly people. So when we consider a person as elder is when the person crosses the age of 65 to 70 years, then he is considered as elderly person. And also above age of 75 they are considered as elderly people. So mostly these people suffer with health problems, psychological problems, suffer with poverty, they suffer with family problems, they suffer with problem of retirement. So generally these are the problems which elderly people suffer. The next is handicap. So when we consider a person as handicapped is majorly we have physically handicapped, mentally handicapped and socially handicapped. So physical and mental includes deaf and dumb people are considered into this, and crippled person and also blind person. In physical handicapped, deaf and dumb, blind person and crippled person. Then next in mentally handicapped, this is the person who is below average or below average intelligence, then that person is considered as mentally handicapped. So there are many welfare programs for this handicapped people taken by the government with specialized institutions for this mentally handicapped people. Then coming to the minority groups. So generally minority groups are considered as the backward groups or backward classes. Example SC, ST. These are the groups which are considered as a minority groups. They have many beneficial schemes and the um, beneficial programs for the welfare of a person. That is example, they have special reservation in the jobs, and they have special they have even special mm, scholarships for the people. So these are making the backward classes to come forward and study or go to the higher positions. So this is how the minority groups are coming forward. The next is child labor. So any child who is working without completing the age of 14 years is considered as a child labor. Any child working if she is below 14 years is considered as a child labor. So generally the areas where they work is in the tea stalls and also in the industries, in the mines, in the general shops, in the agriculture. These are the areas where these children are worked. Then coming to the child abuse. So abuse is mistreatment of a children or a mistreatment of child either in a physical way, psychological way or emotional ways. So why there is a child abuse is because of demanding for higher performance or because of alcohol consumption or because of any other social factors or psychological factors or because of unemployment. Then coming to the delinquency. So delinquency is an unaccepted behavior of an individual in the society. So any person, the girl mainly 18 years below and a boy who is above 16 years who is committing any kind of offense, he is considered as a juvenile delinquent. So, delinquency is an unaccepted behavior of an individual. Unaccepted behavior of an individual. The next comes the crime. So, crime is also a forbidden activity which is against the law. Any act which is forbidden by the law. So, the crimes, example, I can tell you street crimes, crime against moral, or white crimes, or organized crimes. These are the types of crimes. Then, coming to the substance abuse. So, substance abuse are the drugs which are taken in overindulgence. Anything which is of overdose is substance abuse. Example of substance abuse, I can tell you tobacco, alcohol, cocaine, and heroin. These are few of the examples of substance abuse. Then coming to the HIV or AIDS. So this is the uh, epidemic disease which is mostly present in the present place. Like wherever we see, most of the people are suffering with HIV and AIDS because of uh, the reason may be because of the multiple sexual partners, or even through sexual transmission it can be transmitted, or through contact of the infected blood, and also it can be transmitted from mother to the child. Then next is social welfare programs in India. So there are many welfare programs related to the women and children, and also the aged people. So first we'll see about the women. There are many rights which were discussed in the rights of women. So those are all the acts which are given for the women to safeguard and have freedom, and can have complete power over her own life. So first is Hindu Marriage Act, and Hindu Adoption and Maintenance Act, and Equal Wages Act, and Family Court Act. These are few of the acts or the programs which are given for the welfare of women. And for the aged people, they have given early pensions for the elderly people, and the family members are taught to take care of the old family members. Then against child welfare programs, it is employment of children who are below age of 14 in the factories. They have given an Article 29 for prohibiting this. Then there is an Article 39 for preventing abuse of children, and Article 45 which provides free and compulsory education for the children. So these are the child welfare. And also there are welfare programs for handicapped. Like I told you, many institutions which are working for the physically handicapped and mentally handicapped children. Example, I'll tell you, there is a National Institute of Hearing Handicapped which is present in Secunderabad. So this is a institute where the special people are treated here or kept here, and they are taught with many things. Then what is the last role of a nurse in social problems? So here we should treat the poor people with the nurse should treat the poor people with love and affection. Then for the delinquent children, she should analyze the environment, and also should know the cause of disruption, why the child has become like that. The next, in case of malnutrition, the nurse can educate about the nutritional values and the sources of foods which can give a balanced diet for a person. In case of drug abuse, the nurse plays a major role by explaining the side effects of the drugs and overindulgence of the drugs. So there are many areas where a role of nurse is important to bring awareness among people to reduce the problems in the society. So coming to the questions, if you can see, briefly describe about the problem of illiteracy in India and define substance abuse and suggest remedies for substance abuse and what are the various rights of children in India. And short notes, you can see importance of food, that is about explain about the balanced diet. Then what are the evil effects of slums? So definitely slums can cause many communicable diseases to the family, and also you can see most of the delinquent children coming from the slums. Then coming to the causes of child abuse, then four evil effects of poverty. So there are even other essays like modern family and features of modern family, what is minority group and minority groups in India, problems of religious minorities in India, what is social disorganization, and list the characteristics and what are the causes of social disorganization. Then differentiate between rural and urban community and define marriage, explain in detail different forms of marriage in India. Then coming to the branches of sociology, then the branches of sociology can be explained like how sociology and psychology are related, and how sociology and history is related, how sociology and economics, these are all interrelated. So these are the branches of sociology. Then what is re-socialization? That is process of learning or acquiring things. Then negative effects of cultural practices, so greatly influences on the health. Then what is, sorry, explain psychology of crowd behavior. It will be like ignorant. Then explain the remedial measures of overpopulation and discuss health effects of caste and class system. Explain urbanization and its impact on health. Define social organization and mention two purpose of social control. And if you can see 2 marks, they will ask you about define norms, what is meant by voluntary association, mention two characteristics of rural community, what is casteism, what is acculturation. Then list out two functions of culture, define racism, list two demerits of caste system. Then this is the model question paper which you can see for the semester wise. The first essay will be asking only for attempting any two, which carries 15 marks each. So here you can score 30 marks if you attempt two of the questions. Then coming to the short notes, you have to write any five questions out of seven questions. So each carries 5 marks. This is the model paper of the university. Then comes with the brief answers, which will be 10, each carries 2 marks. So here, depending upon the marks, you have to elaborate the answer. Suppose if it is essay, write definition which consists of 2 marks, and the next, whatever they ask, example process or types of families, then if you explain each type of family, then it carries about 8 marks. Then 2 marks, it can include mostly 3 to 4 sentences. So, I thank Prakara Institute for giving me this opportunity to impart my knowledge on the sociology for the students. I hope all students will be benefited out of this. So here, the BSc Nursing curriculum, the first year curriculum MLLP, that is for rupees 149 for each semester, which will be valid for 21 days trial pack. So you can have video lectures, then student notes, then key terms and self-assessment. So this will be for semester 1 and 2.